Hello Rebrand gang, and welcome to episode 40 of Rebrand Everything, the weekly graphic design show where I show you just a small part of the rebranding process, and that is the logo design. Today we're going to be redesigning the Lego logo, and thank you to TJ and Tyler who both requested this over on the form at rebrandeverything.com. Let's go. So I started by doing some research on the history of the Lego brand and the history of the Lego logo. I found this article on Logo Design Love, which I will link in the description below, which basically was a history of the brand and a history of the logo. So this is like my perfect research page. So as you can see as we scroll through this, from 1934 until 1940, it's your classic sort of vintage serif logo design. And then as they developed, there was this selection of sort of quirkily kerned sans serif designs up until about 1954. And then in late 1954, you can start seeing some resemblance to the modern day logo in there, just changing that font around a little bit and adding a little bit more fun and character into the text, making it kind of more child friendly. And then for the latest and current Lego logo, it says here that it was adapted to sort of be digital friendly, and that looks like this. And this current day logo is a much more refined and sort of standardized version, which uses this nice balloony style font to make it suitable for the target audience, which is obviously children. And then it also incorporates the other brand colors by adding 2 strokes around that text. I really like the Lego logo, and I think it's like a great fun iconic logo that fits the brand well. But as you probably know by now if you've watched any of the other episodes, I don't really like it when the text has a stroke on it. I think it's normally a sign of a bigger problem in the design. I think the stroke kind of works for Lego because it's on this fun balloony rounded font anyway, so I'm thinking it's not that bad, and it works quite well because the strokes are quite fat. They're not like them tiny little thin ones. But then saying that, when you look at the website on a computer, the logo has to be so small because it's in this square box. It's forced to be small to fit within the header, and the logo in this header is not holding up very well at this small size. On my phone it looked okay, I guess because I was holding it closer and maybe there's more dots per inch on the actual screen. But on the computer screen, the yellow stroke around the outside is kind of really struggling to show properly. It looks all pixely and like it's too thin. I know that this could just be fixed by making the logo a little bit bigger on desktop devices, but as we're rebranding it today, I need to find something to sort of focus on to make an improvement to, or something that will benefit the logo. Let's start drawing out some ideas. So for the sketching stage, as I say every single week, I'm just literally getting everything that's in my mind out onto that page, just spilling it all out, no prejudging, no sort of stopping and thinking about it too much, just chuck it all down and we'll filter through it later. I tried a few different text layouts, sort of exploring uppercase and also lowercase ideas. In some ways I feel like the capital letters that they use in the current logo really fit the brand, showing that the toys are kind of like strong and resilient. But in another way, capital letters text on a red background is kind of like an aggressive approach. The main focus for the Lego brand is that the toys are strong, fun, and all about imagination and sort of building things out of nothing. So I'm hoping that some of the ideas I draw out can be developed to sort of portray this. The kind of obvious thing that I kept falling back into doing is incorporating a brick into the design, but I'm never entirely sure about using a product within a logo, as it can come kind of irrelevant and like poorly fitting when used on their other product ranges that don't include bricks. I know they have them other like Lego sets that are like, I don't know, like planes or something, and it's not all made out of bricks, it's like Technics or something, and I just don't want that to look irrelevant on there. But then even though I said that, the Lego brick is such like a globally known icon that I think it would be rude not to do at least one option that includes some sort of brick icon or silhouette. Please don't forget to press like on this video if you like this video. It really helps the channel out. Thank you very much.
1.
So for option 1 this week, I wanted to kind of make an evolution of the logo instead of just rethinking everything. So basically making the adaptations that I was talking about earlier, where I want to make it more usable at smaller sizes. So basically that meant changing the overall shape that they use of the logo from a square to a rectangle or something else that's more usable in most situations, such as like website headers and other places where height is limited. I also decided to remove the black stroke as I felt like it was an unnecessary detail, as red is already kind of a strong colour that will stand off most background colours, obviously, unless you're putting it on red, but then they're just not going to do that. And also I just don't really like it when red and black are touching. It gives me that sort of like vibrating visual effect, which I don't really like, which I've spoken about in previous videos. I also decided to move the registered mark from the top right of the text and put that down into sort of this dead zone in the bottom right of like the shape of the O. Because the Lego text is slanted or italic, there's just this little dead zone down in the bottom right, so I thought that's the perfect place for the registered mark, and then it removes the problem of having it top right, which gives this sort of like visual stress against the edge of the box and the edge of the text. I feel like this option is kind of like the next step in like the digital transformation of the brand. If if they didn't want to completely rework the Lego logo but just make it a little bit more friendly for the internet and like modern day usage, then this would probably be the option.
2.
So for option 2, I wanted to somehow incorporate some sort of like symbolized block or brick, but without being ridiculously obvious about it. I also had the idea that 3 dots kind of indicates that something else is coming, which somehow ties in with like the endless possibilities of imagination of what can be built with Lego. So I thought that might be a nice concept to weave in there. And then I wondered if I could go a step further by putting a circle on the 3 dots that we used there to make it look like the top profile of a brick. Like, you know, they have the like interlocking section. It's like a circle on top. But I felt like that was just a step too far, and it was kind of like a tiny little detail and like too small for the size of the rest of the logo. So I teamed the 3 dots up with this big, bold, solid font that's nice and easy to read even when down at small sizes. And it's also got these rounded corners, which just keeps it like clean and friendly, because obviously it's like a childish brand. The text looks maybe a little bit kind of corporate even though it's rounded, but I still feel like it could work.
3.
So I know I am a bit of a hypocrite here because I say that I don't like the stroke on text, and I never really like putting strokes on text, but it just felt like this option needed to be tested out. So the main idea for option 3 was to try a different font with lowercase letters but use the same effects as their current logo, and obviously put that in a rectangle as well instead of a square, just so we don't have that problem with having a small logo that's very small because it's trying to squeeze into a short header. And the idea behind this is kind of trying to remove that shouty feel that uppercase text can bring to the logo. So to build this, I just stacked 3 of the text elements on top of each other with a big fat yellow stroke on the bottom one, a slightly thinner black stroke in the middle, and then a filled white path at top. I like working like this as it's easy to then make adjustments if I want to change, like for example the capital L on the beginning of the word Lego. I changed that for a lowercase, and it was very easy to do because everything was left editable and I wasn't expanding and outlining everything as we go. I feel like the lowercase letters could work and do kind of fit the feel of the brand.
4.
So for option 4, I wanted to include an abstract icon which I'd kind of thought up at the sketching stage, which would essentially be just showing the shadows areas that you would see if you shone a light at one side of one of the bricks. I built this out all just using basic shapes like primitive circles and rectangles, and then I just used the shape builder tool to like cut away the fat, cut away the excess. The icon it made looked kind of cool, but I must admit it did look better in my head as I had these nasty like sharp parts on the silhouette parts of the circle, and I think they suddenly give the logo like a different feel that I don't really like. I don't really like it when it goes down to like a thin point in a logo. I just like everything to be like nice, big, blocky and clear. Don't have any scaling issues then, and just generally looks cleaner. And also the actual design of this was reminding me of like the Turkish flag, which would be fine, but the Lego was founded in Denmark, so it's kind of irrelevant. I tried a few different things to make this work by putting it inside this little lozenge shape that was skewed to the same angle as the Lego text. I'm not actually sure which one I'm going to go with yet. I'm not sure which one I'm most happy with, but I will need to decide on one for the final 5 lineup.
5.
As well as the Lego bricks, which are obviously super iconic, there is another massively famous Lego feature, and that is the little Lego heads that they use on the people. I thought this might just be universal enough to include in the logo, so I grabbed what is possibly the world's smallest ever graphic seen on a website and then redrew it the best I could using rectangles and rounded corners. Once I had this all drawn out, I needed a way to turn it into a logo, as the head on its own is just looked like a head, and I was just like, I need to do something with this to make it look a little bit better. So to give it a nice clean sort of silhouette that I thought could work with some text, I put it inside a red circle, and then thought that this part could be used as a standalone like icon for stuff like the Instagram profile picture or Facebook profile picture, whatever they need really, as it's so iconic you don't even need the word Lego. But then as the icon and text lock up, I used an absolutely classic font called VAG or VAG rounded, and I used that because it's rounded and friendly while still being easy to read. And the second reason is that VAG is just a really funny word. Okay then, Rebrand gang, just before I show you them final options, I just need to remind you to press the little button up here that will bring your options up and vote for your favourite. Then let me know what you think in the comments below. Please remember to press like on this video if you haven't already, because it really helps the channel out. Really helps me get boosted up the rankings when you show your support. And if you want to see a video like this every single week and you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and then press the little bell so you get a notification every time I upload. Okay then, Rebrand gang, let's see them final options.